Take me home. Well. To the place I belong in Africa.
And you are listening to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. My name is DJ TYB, the place to be. We have a very special show for you today. This morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you may be, is a program that you may not know where we are going to go with it, because we already love the guest already. We love him. Yes, folks. Yes. Demola The Violinist. Yes. He's in town. He's in town. Right here. I love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Plus 24 degrees Celsius, sunny, beautiful day in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, from Addis Ababa to Johannesburg. We are saying you're welcome to the program. Joining me to have a discussion, a conversation, not an interview per se, is Ron MOLLINGA. Ron is a producer, yes, a singer-songwriter, performer, an instrumentalist. He's a multi-instrumentalist. No, he's a prof of music. Yes, he is in Vancouver, in the western part of Canada. I'm in Toronto, and Demola, my brother, is in Houston, I guess. So, well, folks, we are going to have a very great conversation. So before we do that, I would like to know how Ron is doing, because you know what, folks, I've been away to Africa. I was in Africa for about a week and a half, and I missed the program, but hey, we are back at it again. And folks, as usual, I will say, PETRAA is supposed to be with us, but PETRAA is not feeling well today. But she'll be able to join us next week. I hope and pray that she'll be up and running. Ron, how are you doing?
Hey, TYB, I'm doing great today. Here on Vancouver Island, it's sitting about 15 degrees. Got out before the rain started coming down. We've been having a little bit of rain, but I don't mind the rain. We've got some beautiful sunny weather too. I can't complain. Besides, who would listen if I did complain? So it's beautiful today. Overcast, but that's okay. I've been listening to our guest today already this morning, and it's nice. As I've already pointed out to you, TYB, it's different sounding than we normally get, and that's nice to have an artist like that.
We are going to have a real fun today, because we've had conversations with a lot of artists, but Demola is different. I'm not trying to flatter him, but it's a fact. When the call came up for us to have a conversation with him, I listened to that. I said, Demola The Violinist. Violin is not synonymous with Africans, I should say. Yes. So it took me back, and I said to myself, wait a minute. Let me do my researches. And man, I haven't been disappointed. I've been listening to the music, can put you to sleep. So I think we may be creating a Demola with some music that he's been churning out. My brother Demola, how you doing?
Thank you for having me, man. I want to say I'm good. I'm fine. I'm excited to be on your show. It's great to meet you guys and talk to you. Full respect, maximum respect. What I'm saying? Thank you for having me on your show. It's great. It's good here in Houston. We've been experiencing tornadoes in Houston and storm. Yeah. It's for the past few weeks, and I'm hearing it's gonna storm again today. But we're good. I'm safe. I'm fine. Just got back from tour. I'm gonna hit the road again next weekend. So I'm just chilling and relaxing. It's kind of a hot weather in Houston. Not too hot, about 80-degree Fahrenheit. So it's like hot tornado and back to hot tornado, and so like you gotta have to hide and make sure that you're good and fine. But so far so good. Everything is fine. Everything is great. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
To have a conversation with you. And normally I always reserve the first question to PETRAA, but PETRAA is not here today, so I will just pass it over to Western Canada to Ron to start up the show. Put you on.
Hey, if you want to give us, first of all, the pronunciation of your name, is it Demola? Is that how you pronounce it? Or how do you pronounce your name?
Yeah, I mean, it's the D is pronounced as day, D-Y. The
Demola.
M is more, and La is La. Where the African accent is Demola, Demola,
Demola.
but everyone it take a while to get that. It take a while to get the
Mhm.
Yoruba accent. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's right.
But you say Demola, so long as you're pronouncing these old syllables right, Demola, that's you good. And you've done an amazing job pronouncing my name, so
Yeah.
that's why I haven't stopped you yet. I'll be like, no, it's Demola. You've done an amazing job so far, so you good.
Yeah, I want to get that right before I start calling you something, Demola or
Yeah,
something
easy.
strange.
Yeah, you
Demola.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah, Demola.
Okay, okay, cool. So can I ask, first of all, you say you're in Houston. Why and what are you doing in Houston? Because it says on your credits and likes you're from Nigeria. So why are you in Houston? What are you doing? And you said you're touring. I get that.
Mhm.
However, what brings you all the way from Nigeria down to Houston?
I live in Houston. I've been in Houston for 10 years,
Oh, okay.
since 2014. I'll say I finally to Houston in 2015. So I live here, but I was originally born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, I did music in Nigeria and all of that. I moved to the States, you know, um, did my school here, my college, my grad school,
Hmm.
here in the States, and I just stayed back. They love me here, so they're like, "No, you're going nowhere. You're going back."
Yeah. Can I ask, when you say you did your post grad and all that, like most I hear Nigerians we have, if your parents live there, they're not too much in favor of their son or daughter getting into the music industry. So, can I ask what your undergrad work was
You're
for?
actually very right. My undergrad was
Sure.
in medical microbiology. So I'm a medical scientist. I'm actually a biomedical scientist, you know what I'm saying? So I did medical microbiology and then I went on to do like my grad school. I went on to do my grad school. I was doing my PhD program when I left my PhD. I did my master's and I was on my PhD program and I left. I was actually doing cancer biology research, you know what I'm saying? So I left to pursue my music. So I have my master's and my PhD is on hold. I'm like, yeah, stop and pursue my music. So I've been doing my music since I left school. I mean, while I was in school and when I left school, I just kept going on, you know what I'm saying? So
So, university wasn't in the curriculum when you went to post secondary. Then
what did you say? You said my university was?
was music wasn't in the curriculum when you went through your post secondary or any of your
Nah,
secondary.
nah,
No.
nah. I never really studied music, like studied music academically or went to a conservatory. I just started picking up the violin in church. I
Mhm.
did music for a whole term when I was in my grade 7 middle school. I came out with 100%. And my mom kept my books. And my mom got me a toy keyboard because I was interested in it. And while I was growing up, I actually was playing toy guitar. It was nothing anything studied, not like I was playing any whatever. And so
Mhm.
when I was gonna get into college, when I was going to get into college, I used that period. I was like, yo, my mommy noticed that, the violin and all of that. And she was like, I kept some of your notes for you. This is the notes, go start. You might probably be useful. So I started reading it back and I understood my tone, semitone. And I could play with my ears. And I started figuring out how to cite real music. I used string builder. And I started teaching myself how to play the violin. And over time, I became drafted to National Orchestra back in Nigeria. I was very young, one of the young, I was the youngest then. And I started meeting professional players from outside, from Europe and from America, and they were like, "Oh, you're so talented, you can play." Okay, and I was like, I would watch them play, and I was like, "Why do you play this way?" And when I'm in
Mhm.
chamber groups, it's more like a opportunity for me to learn how to, interpret the music differently. So it was more secondary learning and all of that. But over time, I became so good talent, and I put in a lot of work. And so when I was doing my grad school back here in Houston. Um, One of the professors heard me practicing and heard me performing one particular time, and he was like, "What's that playing in the music department?" Because I would leave the medical biology department to go to the music department or the biology department to go practice. During when I'm running research, I would leave my cells. I'm like, okay, it's gonna take maybe 2 hours for me to be done with this procedure. So now it's in the machine. Let me go and practice. And so one of them walked up to me and was like, "Wait, are you studying music?" I'm like, "Nah." It's like, "Oh, we need a string. We have a string department here." And he heard me play and all of that. And he was like, "Is there a way you can support us and become like do like a double, you know,
Mhm.
major and do like a master's in blah, because during the conversation he found out I had like certifications and I've performed in different places, and he was like, wow, can you come support us? And I was like, if y'all give me 100% scholarship, I'll do it. But there was no 100% scholarship. And I'm like, yeah, because this is taking a whole lot of my time, money, and all of that, so I could not. But that's how it is. It's been a good journey for me, and I would say I'm grateful to God for it. But no BSc music, music,
Mhm.
nah, none of that.
Yeah. No,
Nah.
no BS in music. Okay, I can understand for you. I can take that for a few
Yeah, no
things.
degree in music.
I know what you meant.
Bachelor of
Yeah,
Science,
I know.
Bachelor of Arts,
I get it. I get
you
it.
know.
TYB, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting. We are starting on a very great note. And my question to you is that, like, you started and you said you started playing the
In
toy
church.
guitars and all. Yeah, we did it back home in Africa and those kind of stuff, but we didn't
Yeah,
take it that seriously.
you're right.
And I quite remember when I was in high school, I took music and I couldn't read me. The theoretical aspect of it was what pushed me out of doing it. But
Mhm.
so I was doing it. You know, my question to you is that when you picked up the violin to learn, did you also write? Did you how did it measure? Because like you just didn't play, but you started to read um, music, to be able to play it. Because a lot of Africans, like people just pick up the guitar and learn, or they are taught without learning notes and stuff like that. In your case, when you started playing, did you also go cross that line to write actual, to write music, writing notes and all those kind of stuff? Right?
Yes, yes. So with I had the books for the books as in church. A couple people were playing the violin and they were trying to teach and stuff and all of that. So the book would tell you which to tell you D string, G string, and it's going to write the notation on your clef, on your G clef. And so I would follow the book like that. Yeah,
Mm.
okay, this is G string, this is your first finger G string, which is your A, this is your first finger D string, and it shows it on the staff, on the clef, and then we use the treble clef, of course. So
Mhm.
it tells you on the book is very it's kind of step by step explanatory. It's kind of very difficult and very especially for a beginner if you don't have a teacher, and also very discouraging. But I mean, I sat on it, wrote it, watched it, what I'm saying. And then also I have ears because I knew tone, semitone, do
Mhm.
re mi fa sol la ti do ti la. So even before I started playing anything on the book, I could play my scales. I would figure it out where I could, this is if this is G, then this would be A, and this is do re, and this is mi, this is a B, this is mi fa, and the fa, B and C is a semitone. That's how I could already. So before I even started reading, I could play. And I started trying to okay, how is the proper way to hold a bow? It's shown in the book. If you look at the book, there it tells you, the way to carry. I mean, you need someone to put you through on some points, but when there's nobody, you just gotta you gotta make it, gotta do your stuff yourself. So I started doing all of that, and that's how it helps me. And over time, I was able to, have a grip on it, have a way to hold it. And then later, when I started meeting senior players, who'd be like, "Oh no, that is not the right way. This is a better way to hold it." I'll be like, "Why are you holding it differently?" They show, I look at how they ask a lot of questions. If I want to learn, ask every question possible, and I
Mhm.
get all the answers. I write the answers down, and I put those answers to practice. That's how I got better. So and when I started doing all of that, naturally I would compose songs, but I didn't know how to write the songs out. So later a couple of my friends who were actually studying music majorly, I'd be like, they were music theories. I mean, they were like, okay, I got into a string quartet, a chamber group too, and you know, while I had the skill, I didn't have the theoretical part strong as good as those guys. So I asked them questions, and they would give me transcript, and this is how to write the notes out. So what I have in my head, I started looking for a way to write it out. So I would write out melodic pattern, I'll send it to them. They were like, okay, this is better. This is a better way to, to write the notations and all of that. And they would play what I write out for them. They'd be like, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And over time, became good at writing. Right nowadays, people don't even use manuscripts and all of that. People just go on the
Mhm.
computer, and you have softwares that
Yeah.
you can use to write music. So I started writing music. I compose music. I compose music for chamber. Compose music for I wrote a whole orchestra concerto one particular time.
Oh, yeah.
It was they called it trash then. They were like, it's so eccentric, it doesn't fit this, it doesn't fit that. But I'm still planning over time, like when I get to where I want to go, I'll have my own orchestra, it's gonna play my own music. It's already happening anyways. But so I was writing, it was a whole step by step, step by step,
The reason why I'm so intrigued by what you're saying is that, I mean, I think the music was in your genes.
Yes,
See,
sir.
as an African, talking about violin, guitars, that's aside everybody. Talking about violin, it's not, like I said before, it's not synonymous with that. And for you to have picked it up
Hmm.
and then to have learned it, self-taught, I would say self-taught initially, to the point where you sought help. I think you've impressed me with that kind of a mindset, let alone doing it. Did you have any how would I say? Was there anybody who pushed you and said, okay, man, Demola, you got it. So continue with it. Did anybody push you, or how did it measure? Because I'm intrigued with your background from what you just
Who was your
described.
support?
That's right.
Yeah, I would say this. I didn't want to play the violin to start with. Like you said, violin was nothing. I grew up it was not anything big in Africa, and in Nigeria where I grew up, I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up a poor kid,
Mhm.
so violin was not anything fancy. And
Understandable.
and I didn't even have a violin to start with because violin is way more expensive than guitars and all of that. But I was going to a church, and the owner of the church, the pastor of the church, he did classical music and he wanted his string
Oh,
orchestra, so he would buy a lot
wow.
of instruments and he brought it into church.
Hmm.
So it was free there. My brother was playing the piano. My brother classical piano. He plays piano. He was good, and he wanted us to do because we would dance together, we would go to parties together, and all of that whole stuff. So it was like, yo, I'm playing the piano in church. Pick up something that would be dope that we can do together in church. And I did not want to do it. I went to see him in church play the oratorio, whatever. And I was like, yeah, the violin is for females. The violin is not for Africans. The violin, yeah. I mean, that's the picture it was, when I was doing like, is I want to play something. And I like brass. I like strings. Guitar. So I was like, I'll play the bass. He was like, no. So we got into an argument, and my mom stepped in. My mom was like, okay, you know what? Go to the church, just go and just go to the church, just so that you and your brother can be good. So that was what solved it. It was a ploy to solve the argument between me and my elder brother that led me to picking up the violin. And when I went with the violin, I did not like it, but I would see people play and people just take advantage of the fact that it was free in church. So I'm not wasteful. So I'm like, people are just dropping these instruments anyhow and just going to play, and they'll tell their parents they're coming to church. I'm like, what is in this instrument? Let me even see what it is. That is what led to it. Curiosity, and my mom was like, okay, go to church during this period. Just so my brother would walk down to the place and just check me out and be like, and see me like, okay, okay, I'm playing the violin. He would give me like thumbs up, like, okay, cool, we're cool now. And when he goes, I'll drop the violin back. So, but I'm not somebody to start something and not follow it through. So I'm somebody like, if I don't want to do it, I don't do it at all. I have to do it to a point where I feel like I'm good enough on it. So that's the same thing with my sciences you know. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me get in this stuff. And my brother's friend at that point in time was somebody who would come to church once in a while to just teach people and go. So he was giving it as a service to church. So he one that heard me by himself. Like one of the days when he would come, he's like, I'm going for 3 months. And he came and was like, okay, all of my students play for me. Me, I was not a student, man. I'll just stay somewhere. And everybody was just playing that stuff trashy. And I was like, what's happening? So I stepped in and I'm like, I can play this stuff. Because he was so disappointed. He's like, I'm never coming back to this church to teach nobody. So I'm like, yo, I don't even want you to come back, but I can. Just a proud teenager. A proud teenager, I was like, just so that you don't waste your time. Like these people just waste these instruments every time. They just come, they go. And I was telling him. And he was like, just shut up and get out of here. Like you don't even do anything. You just come here and sit down and just read your physics and chemistry and biology stuff and all of that. You want to be a doctor. I'm like, but I can play this stuff. I'm a doctor who can play music. And he was like, really? And I'm like, let me put you. I'm like, put me to test. Put some money down. You know, young teenage boy who was growing up in the hood, that was kind of a very, I'm used to confrontations, I'm used to fighting, I'm used to all of that whole stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to prove to you now. Put some money down. And he's like, okay. And I picked up the book and I started playing. I played the whole first book. I played the second book and I got choked at the third book. That's the name of the book, String Builder Violin. And he looked at me and he was like, drop the violin, packed. I was the only one with him and he was like, yep, I need you to come with me. I'm going to take you out dinner. I'm like, dinner for what? And he's like, yo, when was the last time you ate this delicacy? And I'm like, oh, it's been a while. It's like, I'm cool. I'm gonna take you there to go eat. So that's how he deceived, because he knew I loved food. So that's how he deceived me to come with him. And while we were walking down to the place, it was like a whole 15 to 20 minutes walk. He started talking to me. It was like, yo, you're so talented, you're so gifted. If you can teach yourself this and you can sound like this and create your sound, I'm gonna give you a lot of materials before I leave. Tomorrow, come to my house. This is the address to my place. This is money for you to transport yourself to my house. I'm going to prepare tonight all these materials for you so that you can take it. And because I didn't have resources, I didn't have books. So that's how I gained access to books, you know. But he had to buy me food to talk to me. so, so,
And it's
so
paid off.
yeah, he worked. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm talented. I'm like, yeah, I know I kind of can vibe to music, but I do not see myself a violinist, you know. And you know, growing up, I've always wanted to be an artist, sing, dance, you know, play the instrument, and play guitar, but it was not like an instrumentalist, like in that way. But the dream died because, of course, in Africa, you have to be a doctor, lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So, growing up in the ghetto, the only way you can get out of the ghetto is if you go to college and you get a good job and you're a doctor. And I loved sciences. I was doing well with sciences. So for me, it was more like that line. So he was kind of retracting me back and be like, you need to take this violin serious. And that's how I was like, and that guy became my friend, from being my enemy to becoming my friend and being my mentor, because he advised me. And he went away for 3 months and he gave me a book. And when he came back after the 3 months, I was already so good. He gave me like a whole pack of different books. I would play those books from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day. So I would only have a break from 12 to 12:30 or 12 to 12:45 every day. So I'll go to church. The church was always open every day. I'll go to church and I was still in the church violin to practice. And those were the materials that's how I was able to play my positions, read books, because he's a very good educator. He had books from the beginners to the intermediary to the advanced. By the time he came back, I was already ready to. And when he came back, he called his friend to come listen to me, and that's how I was drafted into the National Orchestra. That's how my life changed.
Wow.
So you meet specific people in your lives. You know, starting off with me getting into a fight with my brother, my mommy forcing me to go to church. You know, me to impress my brother and my mom and my brother's friend. He was also older than my brother, but he eventually was like, okay, let me find you. And he sees me playing and he got so interested and gave me materials, and getting somebody who became another mentor for me that drafted me into the orchestra and made me his partner as regards playing. So I became his duet partner anywhere he's traveling. Another guy, he's late now. And that's how my life transitioned. And when he guy passed on, I had to become the person in charge of music booking. That's how I got into for violinist booking. So it's a whole long journey. But that's how my life changed from one point to one point to one point to one point to one point. And at a point in my life, I was booking string orchestras and chambers orchestras. I would train people and I would take them out of the country to go perform and come back. And I was still a teenager, I was young.
Wow.
Man, that's
Honestly,
awesome.
yeah, your story, this story has got to be written into a movie
And
because
it was violin that brought me to even start with. It was violin that brought me to America on tour.
there you go. There you go.
Violin that brought
Because
me to America. My first time in London, it was violin. My first time to ever travel out of the country to Ghana. That was the first time I traveled out of Nigeria. And I traveled by myself. It was violin that took me out. So violin changed my entire life. Violin paid my way into in my whole college fee. All the whole medical, whatever I studied, everything, microbiology, blah, 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 kind of stuff. Violin paid it.
wow,
Mhm.
wow, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sitting here very intrigued, and you know what? We don't normally see um, young people from the ghetto, like say in Accra, from Nima, if you say Nima or wherever, from the ghetto
Mm-hmm,
to pick up that
mm-hmm,
people will say elitist kind of instrument,
mm-hmm,
the which You hardly see. Right now, if I say violin, I go to Africa, somewhere in Africa, and say violin, some people will just, huh? What's that? What's that?
Mm-hmm.
But for you to have been able to learn, self-teach, and then you moved on, and then with the help and graduation from 1, 2, 3 to where you are right now needs to be written into a movie, because I'm sitting here in awe, and I'm like what you're saying. It has helped you right now. See where you are right now. So right now, we've also interviewed or had this conversation with others also who also went, and the mindset was to go into a field other than music, and they ended up picking up music. Fela and Nicola Pokuti of blessed memory is one guy, medicine, and came back with music. And looking at where you are right now. Now, you've gotten everything. Everything has been put into its place. When did you write your first track, your first music?
My own original, say, release music or just write?
Right.
From less than one, when I was less than one, in fact, I'll say 6 months or 4 months into the violin, because I get tunes every time. So when I'm playing the book, for example, let me say I'm playing, for example, Twinkle Little Little Star. Da 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 da. When I'm done playing it, and I know I can play it 25 times without mistake on my violin, then I was like, this sounds good. Okay, can I? I want to. I begin to hear tunes in my head, like for example, da 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 da, and I want to try it. And I play it, and I tell whoever is on piano, can you play something to this to accompany me? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Wow.
it's like, which song is that? I don't know. I'm just coming up with something. So a lot of times guys will be like, it's primitive. It's primitive. So but a couple guys encourage me, be like, this sounds good. Some will be like, since it's not a song that is a song, nobody was ready to accompany me until I started becoming a better player. I would not say better player, but that was also part of it. Until I started becoming a known player, like people started respecting me. So when I say, hey, listen, guys, play this, they're like, what tune is? I'm like, I'm just making it up. I start doing it. But I started writing before I even became a violinist. I was writing songs. I'll write songs with guys who rap, and I would try to make beats, I'll do drums, and I'll call guys who could play guitar, be like, you play this, you play that, and then we'll write the songs together. I was already doing that before I became a violinist. But when I became a violinist, violin now taught me how to, harmonize properly, harmonize better, write better, dynamics, theme of song, you know, better instrumentation. So I be more like took it from that crude way to become finite. So it made me not just violin, but I exposed myself to becoming a better musician. I started working with jazz musicians, started working with classical musicians, I started working with classical composers, people who are just composers. And I was like, oh, why do you write the song this way? Why do you interpret the song this way? Oh, this is why. Why using this mode? Why using this? Now that begins to help me better. So when I eventually started doing music production 2 years into, when I started playing the violin, I became a music producer under a record label. I came with all of that whole musicianship. So it was more like a holistic artist, as opposed to, oh, he's just a classical violinist, or he's just a jazz violinist. So it was more like I could work with a band, because I was already playing with jazz bands. I worked playing with cover bands. So I would like, let's not harmonize that song that way. Let's use a fourth here. Let's use a third interval here. Let's change it this way. Let's rearrange the tempo this way. Let's switch it this way. Let's drop the aggression on the music. Oh, it needs to get very aggressive. Let's use a triple F here. All of that interpretation started coming in. So I started becoming a better musician. But writing first started a long time. But writing as a violinist started a few months into, when I became a violinist. When I started playing the violin, like 4 months. When I was 2 years on the violin, I was already in a group, and we're singing we were singing in college. We were just freshmen in college, singing in college. I was the group leader, because I would arrange our songs. I was not the lead singer though. I would arrange our song, our harmonies. It's called Angels Lane, and then we got signed to a record label, and then we released songs. It's a whole long story.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We released songs. I was the producer on the label too, so I would produce our songs, and I was just so very much. I would leave school and then go there to spend the night. I would be in the studio from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. and I'll come back to class like that, sleepless. Just because we wanted to make a track, we made the whole album and everything, but it didn't work out. So
Yeah, I can figure it out. I can figure it out.
it didn't work out. And funny enough, everybody in the group has, we're all still friends and everyone is good and everyone is going doing it. I'm the only one who is pursuing music.
Wow.
I'm the only one who is an artist. I'm the only one who is, every other person is doing something else. There. They do music. They just like it for personal gain and all of that. But they are not like musicians or artists. I'm the only one who's like, this didn't work out, and I'm gonna keep going.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
They're all proud of
Yes.
me right now.
Well, folks, we are in conversation with the great Demola the Violinist. Man,
Yes, sir.
this story is intriguing me. Well, Ron, the floor is yours. Ask your questions, and I'll come back with some
Okay.
big ones.
You said a statement that I know I don't hear very many musicians say. First of all, you said the G clef, and as soon as I heard that, I go, well, that's the treble clef. So those who don't know what you meant by G clef, it's a treble clef.
The treble clef. F clef is a bass clef.
Yeah, of course. So yes, of course. I was just curious because I was thinking, how many people are going to know what he means when he says a G clef? It's like, does he really mean a G string? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I know exactly what you mean. I'm curious, and nobody's really going to know this, except very few are going to know this. When you're using your notation, you're using Finale, Sibelius, or Dorico when you do your software notation.
Sibelius. It was Sibelius. There was Sibelius came afterwards. You started with
Yeah.
and then Sibelius came after. So yeah, Sibelius is
Yeah.
quite cool.
Yeah, I know that I've used Finale for over 30 years, and I've also used Sibelius. I know a lot of universities have students using or preferring them to use Sibelius, probably because it might be a little cheaper. I don't know, user-friendly, who cares?
I think it's user-friendly. I like Finale. It was dope. Like, that's how I started, and Sibelius came after. But I think Sibelius is kind of maybe more user-friendly and a little bit, but it's more like if you're doing music production and you're using Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Ableton is becoming popular, in terms of live music and all of that. But as regards making beats and all of that, quickly Fruity Loops. You know what I'm saying? So that's how Sibelius is like. That's what I think. I may be wrong. I'm not always on it anyways. I'm more of a music producer.
Yeah, I have a friend who's into Sibelius, and I used it for years, but I just was going, no, I just like Finale. There's nothing Finale can't do. So it's no rights or wrongs to this.
Yeah.
It's whatever you work.
Whatever you work. Yeah.
Exactly. It's interesting because I heard a lot of your songs and I was thinking, okay, this is very different from the normal, I'll say, Afrobeat artists we have. And say Afrobeat, I'm not trying to give you a label for that, or hip hop or whatever, but it's very atypical of what we're hearing. I'm hearing melodies and counter melodies. I'm hearing solos at the intro, and I'm going, these just don't happen in Afrobeat for sure.
Yeah.
I just can't say I've heard that anywhere in the songs I've heard. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
What would you say? I don't want to label. I don't like people getting labeled into. I don't like getting labeled into genre after genre, whatever you want to be. But where would you say your first love and dedication is to music? Where would you say that is? I know, tough question.
Tough question.
But I would say this as a singer,
Yes.
as an artist who sings.
Yes.
I would say I'm more into the Afro pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what I would say. That's what I would say, because I mostly sing Afro beats, but it's a fusion of Afro, jazz, Afro classical, Afro and pop. I like more mainstream, you know what I'm saying? Afro jazz, you know what I'm saying? As a singer though. But that does not mean that I'm gonna do Afro trap, Afro these, Afro, you know what I'm saying? But I do more fusion Afro, you know what I'm saying? But mainstream fusion Afro. So that's where the pop comes in. However though, as a violinist, I'm a multi-genre violinist.
Sure.
So the two sides of my artistry, it's like if I play jazz, I play classical, I play sonatas and shadows, I jump on, jazz fusion. I'm doing jazz fusion, but my style of whatever is more mainstream pop jazz, mainstream pop. So if you say, oh, pop jazz, and then next moment you hear me play kizomba, the next moment you hear me play reggaeton, the next moment you're hearing me play. So I have covers and songs of all different genres of music.
Wow.
I just did a compa song that's gone viral in Haiti. You know, it's all over the place. I've done list of dancehall and reggae songs, and if you listen to my original violin composition, original violin album, which is called Feelings with a one, FEEL1 NTS. The reason why I call it one is because I did fusion of different styles of mainstream genres of music that I've got. So you have country pop in it, you have reggae in it, you have dancehall in it, you have pop in it, you have Afro beats in it, you know, you have, but everything in each of them, you hear the classical, you hear that jazz in it, you hear that whole tone, and then
Hmm.
you hear even high life, not just Afro beats with yes, but Afro beats
Hmm.
itself as a genre, and you hear high life itself as a genre, of music, and you be like, but I hear high life in this song and I
Mhm.
hear pop. So I call what I do global music fusion, GMF.
Hmm.
you know,
Sure.
Global
Yeah.
Mhm.
music fusion. So, but when it's like, oh yeah, global music fusion, but it's a multi-genre violinist. Now, adding the violinist to me as an artist and a singer and fusing everything together, it's so difficult to box me into it
I
anyway.
know. I know.
Yeah.
Because
I totally.
it,
I can hear that.
yeah, because I'm doing I'm doing festivals where I'm performing at country music festivals. I'm doing rock and roll festivals. I'm doing Afrobeat festivals. I'm doing Afro pop fest. I mean, I'm doing pop festivals. I'm doing, So when people come to my show, you see a range and variety of people who come to my
Yeah.
concerts on tour. You see people who be like, "Oh yeah, we are Indians. Can you play Bollywood music?" I'm like, "I got you. I play Bollywood music." And everybody's going crazy. And in the next, after the next beat, I'm playing a country song. I'll do the country hits, and all the way,
Wow.
and then I'm going to R&B and doing R&B, and then I'm doing hip hop, and so it's I just feel like music is one language, it's a universal language.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm blessed by God. I know I'm blessed by God, and I just hone on it. So I'm like, okay, this week I want to do different genres of music, and I want to study them a little bit more. And with my classical background, it helps me to understand the elements that makes the song what it is, that makes the genre
Hmm.
what it is. So when I'm playing that genre, it's not like an instrumentalist that is playing the genre. It's like I'm breathing and singing the genre in the genre's language. Now in a
Hmm.
different way, more like I'm taking it from what it is and
Mhm.
feel and characterizing it, fusing it and characterizing it, with mainstream. So when people hear me play, kizomba, they're like, this is kizomba in such a different way. We love it. It takes it well. And so it's just GMF, Global Music Fusion. That's what I call myself. I'm a global music fusion artist.
Yeah. I can relate to this as a person that went to university for jazz for numerous years, for 4 years, and I played. I couldn't as a bass guitarist. I can't put a label on myself as to what I play. There's just probably it's easier to tell you what I don't play than
Right.
what I do play. I think that's easier thing, or what I don't prefer over what I do prefer. Because it's just when you go and you perform with so many others and you get that experience of all that, it really helps you to be, I'll say, just a well-rounded musician,
Musician.
which is very
Very good.
rare
Yeah.
in today's society in terms of I don't know about you, but I'll get charts for things and to play them and it's easy. I can sight read them, but nobody else in the band will be able to. I've been into that in many groups where they just kind of
Yeah.
they don't read. So where do you ever find this frustrating in terms of you've got the skills to be writing and playing, you understand melodies, counter melodies, all this kind of stuff. What's it like when you come to somebody and they say, "Well, I don't read, I don't play music. In terms of an instrument, I just sort of throw samples together and stuff." What's your feeling about all that?
Okay, so it's frustrating, but I've come to understand, you know, I'm hearing some music. I'm
Me too. I
some
am too.
conversation.
Me too. I am too as well. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. When I meet, like, especially producers, let me not even talk of artists, because a lot of, like, when if you're doing mainstream music, a lot of artists don't even know. but they just say, hey, I just whatever sounds good to me is what I sing to. Oh, I like this style. And you give them stuff and they don't understand, but hey, this is what if it works for them, whatever works for everybody works for everybody. When it comes to
Yeah.
producers who throw samples, get this from this one, just slap it and just send you a beat, and it's not really. It's just like I look at this stuff as something that, listen, Demola, you're an artist, right? Yes, you're a musician, right? Now I need to get out of the musician part of you. Do not be a musician right now. Be a consumer of mainstream music, of arts, and look at this like somebody who doesn't know music. That's how I help myself. Because if you look at a lot of songs that are charting, I mean, we're in a world where people who do not know anything about music are the ones who are employing musicians to play for them. And they tell musicians, play this. They just say, da, da, or tell them, "Ah, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't." Somebody who spent 30 years being a great musician will be sitting down with like a 22-year-old or 21-year-old or even 17-year-old who doesn't know anything, but he can just create something that people vibe with at the club, and he's seen as a celeb. He's seen as an authority about music because he makes music that people can dance to and people can stream, and he has millions of streams. And you want to make like a rapper who doesn't, I'm sorry, but a rapper who doesn't know anything about music to come talk about music production, to come talk about music from the 80s, music in the 90s, music in the 2000s, early 2000s. Like, I'm sorry, like, but then when you get yourself out of the musical part, you can actually extend yourself to think how a consumer thinks. And because of that, that's why I'm able to make music that consumer can relate to, as opposed, and still the musician can relate to. So a musician will be like, "Oh, this is fire," and the consumer will be like, "Oh, I love this. I don't know why, but it just sounds cool." Why?
Mm.
Because I'm over time and I'm still learning, because the world is changing. New genres are coming up. you know Things are becoming switched to different places, and you're having people who are spearheading this, are producers. I call them sound benders, people who bend sound. We have them, yeah, sound benders. You cannot compare the production of the 80s and the 70s and the
Yeah.
90s and 2000 to what we have right now. I feel like what we have right now is trash. But when I was just in the club yesterday just to listen to music, I've not been in the club in like few like 3 months. I went in there and I was just listening to the DJ play, and I was listening to the new sounds and trending sounds that is happening. And I'm like, for me to keep up social
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
media,
do
for
this.
me to keep up
I
with
do
doing
this
stuff
too.
that will go viral, I need to know what is going on. And I'm like, okay, now that I hear this, what can I add to this to make me
Yeah.
sound elite, make me sound professional, make me sound musical, and still make me cross and meet people. So when people hear me, be like, "Yo, Demola is different. Demola is dope. He's an artist." But no, when you hear his song, even when he plays this song that you're talking about, it sounds so different. That is what I try to. So I sit down and I listen, and I'm looking at how the DJ is mixing the song, what he's doing, but all those electronic part of getting sounds and sampling and doing this. A lot of them do not even know what they're doing, but they know how to do it to make people have fun. So if they know how to do it to make people have fun, I wanna I wanna study how they do it, or I won't say be a part, but I don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, and that's I heard a world class producer say yesterday. He said, the easiest way you can tell if your song's going to do well, you play it for your aunt who knows nothing about music. Just she'll tell you whether she likes it or not, and there you go. That's how you know it's good. And right
Right?
there, if you have that person telling you your song is good, not because she loves you, because she likes the song, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
it.
thought,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I thought,
I mean,
boy,
if you're right.
that's a
I mean,
good.
if you say, "Oh yeah, I want million streaming, 20 million, it can't be 20 million musicians, 20 million people who don't know shit about music."
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't know jack about music. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, oh, I want people to like people who come to my shows. Only few people who actually are music aficionados, who are musical noises, people who are music professionals. Only a few, like maybe less than 2%, less than 1%, less than 0.5% are in my shows. Most people are just people who are concert ticket goers, who love my music, who don't know what I'm doing, but they just like what I'm doing. And so
And
for
that's a
me
good
to
sign.
yeah, and for me to be, for me to still be on tour and do all of that, I have to, appeal to them. So I just sit down and I watch what people are vibing to, watch what people will like, and I'm like, okay, this is where music is going this way now. How
Yeah.
do I,
Yeah.
how do I be a part of this to
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
music? in my own
Yeah,
way.
right now,
Better is
right now, I'm
respectful
hearing
to everybody.
I'm hearing a lot of the '80s sort of coming back into songs, and they have been for the last 5 years. I'm hearing that drum sound from the '80s, and hearing a lot of that happening right now.
You're right.
Sort of, it's
And
sort of
country music is now making a comeback now and becoming the number one genre in the world now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it used to be actually, and it still is very popular because most of the people who like country are not most, not all, but most are older people, and they're the ones with the money.
You're right.
So yeah. Anyway, CYB, I could
Well,
talk about
no,
you.
I'm
This is
enjoying
great.
I'm enjoying the conversation because still Demola Demola's story intrigues me a lot, and I mean
Mhm.
I appreciate what you've done, and I mean I'm right now number one fan of yours.
I
Honestly,
appreciate you.
I love that. Um, with what the discussion where it has been to, it seems as if you are enjoying yourself doing what you do best, and you know
I
what,
do.
and yeah, as an artist myself,
Mhm.
as a songwriter and stuff like that, if you know I get that vibe, that kind of stuff, I become so happy because it's not easy to be an artist right now. There's so much competition, but like if you know exactly what you're doing and you are within your lane, you're good. From where we are right now, you've been successful at what you've done. And how do you measure success in the
Good
field that
question.
you've chosen?
I know the answer to this one, but I want to hear what he says. Yeah.
Um, I I know, you know, when you say I want to hear what he says and I know the answer, like now you put fire in my ass. I'm like, I got
There's no right or wrongs to this, but I know what
you're
it is
right.
for
There's no
me.
right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. But I'm like, okay, so
There's no right or wrongs here. Okay,
yo,
Demola,
yo,
don't worry, no
Don't
no,
worries.
worry.
you're right. You know, when it comes to success, you're right. A lot of people measure success differently. And you ask me, how do I personally measure success? I'm so hard on myself.
Me too.
I'm so hard. And when you tell me, when people like I have my manager, my publicist, and I'll be like, yo, we're so proud of you. You did this successfully. And I'll be like, wow, okay, I know.
Mhm,
Like, yeah, but the
mhm,
next
mhm.
moment it's like, nah, I'm feeling I need to do better. And that constant wanting to be better, wanting to be better, wanting to be better, and doing it. So I'm like, oh, I'm on level one right now. I set goals for myself, for example. And so once I achieve those goals, I get tired of those goals and I want to set new ones. And that's what makes me get better. But me achieving those goals and crossing is what I call my personal success. Like, yo, I set goals for myself and I achieve it. Oh, I want to release an album of all else. I want to create a sound that like this. I create it. Even before the world hears it, the fact that I'm able to do that and I'm like, yo, I like this. That is the first for me, that's the first way. Me pleasing, not just myself, but me achieving goals that I feel like I set for myself on my course to my journey. It is what my first success is. Now, the next thing is I'm a people pleaser, not, oh, I want people to like me. No, I'm an entertainer, which means I entertain, I make people happy. Now,
Good.
when I see what my music does to people at shows, social media, you
Mhm.
know, I see the responses. I see how well my music affects the lives of people. That is really very important to me. You know, yeah,
Mhm.
I have sold
Good.
out and sold out tickets, but what happens at the concert is what matters to me.
Yeah.
Now, somebody from the business part will be like, oh, yeah, we had a very successful concert because it was sold out. That's cool on the business end, which I'm also part of. But when I hit this stage, how do I leave the fans? At what moment, at what moment do I feel on stage like, yes, these people have been entertained, these people love it? Like when I finish shows and people do not want to leave, when
Mhm,
everybody wants to meet me afterwards, when
mhm.
I get in the crowd and I'm nearly torn apart like a hungry lion who is trying to kill a deer. That's for me. It is like, yes, now this is success. Now people, so the impact of my music in the lives of people, live shows and social media and publicity, whatever, people streaming my music is how I measure success for me.
Mhm.
Now, the world may measure it separately and be like, yo, you're not charting on number one on Billboard yet. He has a very successful, when someone an artist is very successful, you're talking about the artist is number one, won a Grammy Award, or won a Mobile Award, or won a BET, won a this, won an international award, won a this is, it will, if you've not, oh, have you had a number one single yet? Oh, you've not had a number one album, number one single. This is how the world measures success. That's not how I
That's
measure it. Even if I
that's a
want it,
number.
I really, really want it, you know, but that's not how I measure success. I measure
Yeah,
success as how
Yeah,
yeah,
my fans love my music. What do my
yeah,
music do in the lives of people, and
yeah.
how many
Yeah.
goals?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, you're right, Ron. You're right because, like, if everybody likes it, you see, I always say that it's not. We are not the best musicians. I'm a Juno Award winner. I won't say myself that I'm the best, one of the greatest of stuff. There are some artists out there who may not have had the chance to put their music out there because we live in some intricate ways where if people are not aware of the fact that right now you can even release your music on social media and stuff like that, as opposed to
mm-hmm,
back in the day where you had to go and see the DJ, do this and not pay, do payolas and all those kind of stuff, right?
mm-hmm,
So right now, if you're so happy with what you've done, and then like I've played in big concerts and stuff like that, and once you finish and you come out, if you have to sign autographs and all those kind of, we've done just that, and people like it. You may not have won the Grammy or the Juno or whatever it is, but the satisfaction, and then you knowing that you've done something, you've written something that somebody likes it, it's more successful than anything else. So I share your sentiments out there. I really do. And I applaud you for everything that you've done because honestly, your story has got to be turned into a Hollywood or a Nollywood movie. Yeah,
it will.
Ron? Ron?
yeah. With that, I would say there's no different. I would say exactly the same thing. I would say my one way of asking somebody if they're successful is, are you happy doing what you're doing?
You see. Mhm.
That's success to me. And if you are happy what you're doing, then you're successful. If you don't like what you're doing, or you're not, you winning that Grammy was the first thing, that's the only thing you want to do, well, I guess you're not that successful then. But if you
Mhm.
are happy regardless, and if you are making, as you have said, Demola, is if you're making your crowd happy and you're
Mhm.
getting encores to come back on again, that that to me is success. It's not always the money,
Mhm.
it's the happiness and joy that you bring to others and yourself. And that to me is success. Nothing
Yes.
more, nothing less.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
Amen.
Any
yeah.
comment on that with respect to what Ron just said? Because
No, I agree with him. I agree with him. And if I was going to make a comment to it, it's
yeah.
like um going through a lot of whatever. Like my current tour is called the One in a Million tour.
Mm.
I released an album. It's a whole, me singing, playing all of that whole stuff, and it's all originals. And this is my vocal violin album. 2 years ago, I dropped a violin album. I've dropped a couple of cover albums, but this is my vocal violin album where I'm singing majorly, and I'm also playing the violin, like you said, violin solos and all of that. And when I finished the album, even if I was not satisfied, because I had a lot of other songs that I took out, I was just trying to tailor the album. The satisfaction I got from releasing the album and the joy I got from letting the world, like, oh, the world can finally hear that. I don't think anything can give me that feeling. That feeling was so, so, so good. Like you said, I was so happy with myself. And then when I eventually released the music and my fans were reacting and liking it and loving it and coming to see me in shows and asking me, oh, play Lover. Oh, perform Master.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm like, okay, that feeling, oh, one in a million. And I'm thinking I was gonna post a video today, later, where the crowd was singing and with lights and singing one in a million, baby, 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 you were one in a million. And I'm like, I just like, oh God, this world is so sweet.
Yeah.
you know, that's good,
Like,
man.
see my fans love my music. And I also had CDs and I was like, okay, go stream it and all of that. People were buying the CDs and having me autograph my album. And I'm like,
Mhm. You've come
Mhm.
along. Yeah, 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 yeah.
so I'm excited, like what you just add to what you say, like the happiness that comes from it. Sometimes because of how I am, I use always pushing myself. I'm never satisfied. It kind of short lived, but a lot of times when I sit back and I'm retrospective, I'm like, huh.
Hmm.
I
Awesome.
think as a teacher as well, I taught music for over 30 years. I can say, are you happy with what you did? And this is your best effort you could have done. Then there's nothing more that you can be. You can't be
Mm,
less happy than that. I mean, your best work. You try to
you're
put
right.
your best effort in, and it might not always be perfect every single time. We all know this. But as long as you think you tried as absolutely hard as you could have, and you've done your best work, to me, you should be absolutely elated.
Yes.
You're
So,
right.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
Yes. Yes. And I have a last question now. I mean, the conversation is getting so interesting. I'm not even looking at the time right now. What advice would you give to someone starting in your line of work, like not guitar, not in the music industry, but you know, an African, a young African or a young Latino boy living in somewhere in the same scenario where you grew up? What advice would you give that person um,
good
starting up in
question.
that industry?
Yeah. TYB, that's a great question.
Mhm.
While you saying it, I was just thinking, the first thing is, you know, be appreciative of life. Appreciation of life is, oh yeah, thank God I'm alive. Thank God, I'm experiencing this. Appreciation also is looking at what you have inside of yourself and appreciating what you have. A lot of times, growing up in the ghetto, a couple people, you know, did not. Well, of course, we didn't like where we were. Wanted to get out of where we were. But we did not sit down and appreciate ourselves. Appreciation. If you look at, let me give you an instance. You look at your clothes, man, I like this clothes. You begin to notice the things inside of the clothes. Oh, it has this very beautiful buttons. It has this, it has that, it has this, oh, it has this. A lot of times people do not know what they have inside of them. And because they don't take their time to appreciate, they just caught in like, oh, I want to get out of this, I want to get out of that, I want to get out, and they're doing anything to get out, which is cool. But we're not always cool. They don't take the time to look at what they have. If I didn't meet that dude, if my brother didn't get into a fight with me, if my sister did not, I mean, my mom did not say, okay, hey, listen, I would not be here talking to you. I did not know that the violin would be what would push me back to my me wanting to, because when I was young, I was saying, Mommy, I want to be like Michael Jackson. I want to be like Fela Kuti. I want to be like this. I want to be like that. And she'd be like, yeah, but you have to be a doctor. You have to be a lawyer, you're a engineer. You know what I'm saying? But um, a lot of us had some of that stuff inside of us, but we did not appreciate it. We did not take our time to dig deep and be like, Even when I could play the violin now, I felt like I was just doing it. The guy was like, no, you gotta have to chase this. You have something unique inside of you. You need to take your time and sit down and look at the stuff you have inside of you. So I was like, oh, beyond sciences and being a very good scientist, I can be a good student, coming out with A's. So I have this side of me that is so dope that I've always overlooked. So a lot of times we think appreciation is just saying thank you. It is taking our time and be like, who am I? What am I? Let me embrace everything that I am. And then let me begin to build from it. I had friends that we grew up who died, who went to prison, who went into scams, who got into armed robbery and died. Thank God for my mom, who was really very strong and sent us to good schools. I mean, not good schools, but made sure that we went to got good education and trained us with a rod and made sure that I did not join bad gangs.
Mhm.
However, a couple of my friends, one of my friend, I remember him so well. He like, yo, one thing I love about myself, he would say this, I can cut hair.
Mhm.
He would say that. He was like, if anything falls, I just like myself that I can cut hair. I'm like, when he said that, I would look at him and be like, it's like, you can do all the technology and the whole whatever. Me, I can cut hair. I like it. And he loves himself for it. He's a celebrity barber now.
Oh,
Mm. Mm.
Yes.
Wow.
Because he took his time to embrace what he could do, discover himself, embrace what he could do, just like I did, and feel like whatever happens, I like this. I'm not gonna stop doing this. So he did it with passion. He was, even amongst all of us, he was the first guy that, when I was becoming doing music and I said they started showing me or whatever, he was already cutting for all of those celebrities in the, I won't call them celebrities, but they were the guys who were performing at
yes,
mashups and
yes.
parties and dance, whatever. So appreciating yourself is one key thing. It helps you to value yourself more, helps you to understand that, okay, if everything falls, this is what I really love about myself. You want to put in more time because you love yourself and love what you can do. You love yourself more, and then you do not want to engage in things that will end. You're like, oh no. You would see anytime we want to do stuff, you'll be like, oh guys, I'm not going to come with you guys. I don't want to break my wrist. I'm going to go cut somebody's hair. And I'll look at him and I'll like, Sule, for real? He'll be like, ah, no, I love this. I like myself for this. If we say this, if we say in our language, I'm and I'm going like muli shaking ego. I like myself for it. But he was not even good when he was saying all of this. But he would spend his time.
Time. Yes.
Spend his time. So we really need to, someone who from whatever, because why I'm saying that is because a lot of times if you're coming from a poor background, you hate everything.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
just want to do anything to get out. And that's where scam comes in. So when you say someone from my background, the first plague that is hitting people who are coming from poor places and who grew up in the hood and all of that is scamming, is getting into theft, into getting into things that are wrong. Some people virtually make it from there. That's their own way. I don't know how somebody's destiny is written. And a lot of them end up dead, end up bad gangs, end up, do you want to die? Do you want to risk things, or you want to sit down and value the life that you have? Be grateful for the life you have. Dig deep into yourself. See what you like about yourself and begin to discover your talent. Now, when you find that thing that you love, now that's when hard work comes in, discipline comes in.
Yeah.
You know, taking the time to work hard on what you know and what you love, and then you begin to grow something that will last forever as long as you live it. So long as you love it, like you say, you know, you're successful, you feel happy doing what you're doing. So you see yourself, like a lot of people are not happy with their lives, even if they have some money. They still feel empty because they are doing something that, man, they have the money, but they are doing something that, so they're using the money they have to go on vacations, do everything to just make themselves happy, but they still feel empty
Still,
because
yeah.
they are not doing that thing that they really like. You can have other streams of income. You don't have to have the talent or be gifted to it, but you need to, while you're doing that, you still need to discover your purpose, that thing about yourself that you love, that you feel like you can do, that makes you happy. That is the thing that will liberate you in life.
Yeah.
And so at my foundation, I have a foundation, music foundation, also a humanitarian foundation, that looks for talents in kids from where I come from. And also here in America, while I'm doing the whole music stuff and buying instruments for kids and all of that, and people who are, but we have, I used to pay tuition for students to be like, what do you like to do? It's like, and I'll see them and I'm like, no, there's a talent. I don't have that time that I used to do it. I have friends who do it and people who work with me now, like, go check them out and be like, this person can really do this. This person is really excelling well in this part of his studies in school. This person is really talented. And then those very talented ones who enjoy doing a specific kind of thing, I'm like, what do you want? Oh, I want to have a shop where I can make shoes. You love doing shoes. Oh, I love doing shoes. I like it. We establish them. Go do that. And over time, they've built. There are two guys who have, I can still remember 3 years ago. They have their whole firm now. They have their own company. They have people working for them. It's not like major big, but they are fine enough to take care of themselves and their family. And so talking from my own experience, is just appreciating your life, discovering what you really have inside of you, and then being disciplined enough to follow that path and
That's
see it through.
Yeah.
good
I
advice.
yeah, my mother said that money will never make you happy, and she's right. And I think being a musician, as I always say, is 95% hard work and 5% talent. And
You're right.
clearly, Demola, you have done a lot of hard
Oh,
work.
yes.
And so that's clear as a bell. And deservingly so. You're getting to do things that other artists may not have had the chance to do. And it sounds like you got your act together here, and that's really great. I rarely will. I'm usually asking questions that are a lot more difficult for artists to answer. But today was a totally different day, I will say, on my behalf as a musician as well. So kudos to you, man.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
Yes.
Means a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. And from here to, the same thing. I'm still in awe because I've listened to your music, and I will encourage listeners out there to check you out. And anywhere you play and those kind of stuff. Yeah, because you know what? You come loaded with that talent. And I'm looking at where you started, because not a lot of people have been able, like just like you said, have come out and then done what you've done by just picking up guitars but this is a different kind of instrument that you're dealing with, and with your knowledge and with your dedication and with your patience, with how you've handled the whole thing, man, it's a great pleasure that I've met you. And what we're going to be doing on Love Afrobeat Music Talk Radio is to promote the music, play the music 24/7. Honestly speaking, you are one out of so many that have come through this program. And for Ron not having asked some of his questions and appreciating this tells a lot about who you are. And I would say continue with what you're doing, because I mean the future is even brighter than what you think and how you see it. And in passing, how do you get people to follow you and to get in touch with you?
All right, my name. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate the kind words. Sometimes when I'm like where we come from in Africa, when you're talking to older people who are older than you, elders, besides respect, they say you guys are a wealth of knowledge. So you guys, like, you've been teaching music for 30 years. That's my age. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, thank you so much. It means a lot listening to, people that I can actually look up to and listen to. And I appreciate the wealth of knowledge and the compliments. And now, back to those who want to follow me, who love my voice and love my face or love my music or love everything about it. My name is Demola, Demola. And once you type Demola on Google, I'm the only one that will pop up. Every other Demola is counterfeit. you will see musician,
That's
all
right.
of that, violinist, you see all of that. But Demola the Violinist. So on Instagram, Facebook. On Facebook, let's start with Facebook. Demola. Once you type Demola the Violinist, you're gonna find my page. Demola the Violinist. 1.4 million or 1.5 million followers on Facebook. TikTok, Demola Violinist. Demola Violinist. If you just type Demola Violinist on TikTok, Demola Violinist, even on Facebook, is still my username. Demola Violinist on Instagram. So DEMOLA VIOLINIST. You will find me on every platform. Demola Violinist. I'm on YouTube as Demola. Just type in Demola or Demola Violinist. My page is going to pop up. Like I said, I'm the only Demola who is popping. Every other Demola comes behind. So yeah, Demola Violinist on Twitter, Demola Violinist on everywhere. Demola. Very soon the name is going to become a staple, in the mouths of everybody and the
Oh,
home of
yes.
everyone in the
Oh,
world.
yes.
But
Oh,
so
yes.
join right now.
The movement,
Everyone's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I need to drink.
Mhm.
Oh, I need to drink Demola music. I need to eat Demola music. I need to,
Yeah, I just followed you on Instagram, so
Yeah.
I appreciate you. What's your? I have my phone right here. My other phone right here with me. What's your
this is
So I
Ron.
can.
What you're seeing on screen, Ron Mollinga. For IG, for Instagram, just Ron Mollinga.
Ron Mollinga.
Yeah. And then you know what? I would like also to use the opportunity to thank Richardine for linking us together. She's doing amazingly work for the music industry.
She's exemplary.
Exemplary. And so far as I'm concerned, she's one of the best. And then I'm going to be honoring her in my own way. And I wasn't supposed to say it, but I've said it. I know you are listening to us, Richardine, but all the same, we thank you, Demola, for taking your time to be with us. And anytime you're going to release anything, if you want to come back, this is your radio station as well.
Thank you so much.
You know what? You can come back anytime. And you know what? On behalf of myself, Ron, PETRAA, and management, and then people working behind the scenes to get this program out there, we'd like to thank you. And you know what? To the listeners out there, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, the Blue Sky Show, and tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Gospel Sunday, 11 a.m., the Gospel Reggae Takeover with DJ Proclaimer, 2 p.m., News in Review from Africa, the Caribbean, and the Diaspora, 3 p.m., the Relationship and Marriage Hour, and at 6:30 p.m., Soca Sunday. That's what we have for you. And until then, once again, Ron, thank you. Thank you, Demola. And then thank everybody. And take care of yourselves once again. And I'll say bye-bye.
I
Take
just
care,
wanted to
everyone.
add-